And next up on my Steam library, I'm playing Ghost Recon Wildlands. Ghost Recon Wildlands is a tactical open world shooter. It's the most recent game in the Clancy Ghost Recon franchise. It's been going for quite a while now, and I've played nearly all of the previous ones, I think. This one is a big departure from the previous ones, though. And I didn't buy it when it came out because I wasn't sure about it, and it had quite mixed reviews on release. But just recently it was free for the weekend, had a weekend free deal, so I played it during the free weekend for about 6 or 7 hours, and then after the free weekend had ended it was on discount for $16.49. That's 67% off. So after playing it for those 6 or 7 hours over the free weekend, I thought I'd buy it for the 67% off, which was only a 48-hour deal. So I thought I'd grab it then and carry on playing it. So the free weekend did its job, got me to buy it, but at a decent discount. So it's a third-person squad co-op game. You don't have to play co-op, you can play on your own perfectly well. Your squad mates will follow orders and generally do fairly well on their own, but you can play with 3 other players either online or with free friends or free randoms. It's up to you. The story is a drug cartel kind of nonsense set in Bolivia. You're there. Ghost Recon is there to take down this drug cartel and help the Bolivian rebels gain control, because the drug cartel is in league in working with the government and the military. So it's kind of the standard Ubisoft template now, which they use for nearly all their games. A large map split into regions, and the missions on each map are uncovered. In Ghost Recon, it's uncovered by gathering intel. There are places on the maps that are marked as intel. You go there and you collect the intel, and then the missions in that area are then unlocked. And the main missions and the story missions sort of get unlocked each time. They're the equivalent of like the viewpoints in Assassin's Creed, or like the watchtowers in Far Cry. They're basically what you use to uncover parts of the map and locate missions in that part of the map. So once you've done that, you can go about doing them. There are lots of weapons and character customization options. You do all this, you create a character at the beginning of the game before you go in, and then all through the game you can change what your character looks like and customize your weapons. You unlock different things as you go along. There are lots of side missions and activities, and there's like a skill point system and a leveling system as you go along as well. And you have to do the side missions to find parts. Like each skill requires a certain number of skill points and something else, be like gasoline or medical supplies or something like that, and that's what you get from the side missions. So generally the gunplay is good. It's a good tactical shooter. I think it's definitely a good shooter. Yes, I won't even hedge my bet. So it is a good shooter, but it is not really a Ghost Recon game, in my opinion. I don't think Ghost Recon really should be like an open world game like this, where you have to go around doing stuff in any sort of order, sort of randomly finding missions in that way. That's not what the previous Ghost Recon games were like. And I don't think this obsession for having open world in a game is going a bit too far. You don't have to have it on every franchise. You don't have to make everything an open world game, but it seems that people are going that way. And also like the leveling and progression and unlocks, you don't have to have that in every game either. And certainly not in a Ghost Recon game. But that's all in this one. To me, Ghost Recon and the previous Ghost Recon games were more about contained individual missions with a big geopolitical story surrounding them, and it was about sort of infiltrating that mission, that whatever it is, a compound, a building, an embassy, getting in, getting the objective done, and getting out, and then sort of the story then progressing, and then you go into the next mission, not wandering about an open world, finding missions and having all sorts of random side missions to do. I mean, that's what I think. The story as well in this one is a really hokey drug cartel story. It's badly written in my opinion. I can't see Tom Clancy would ever have written this story. And maybe when he was like 14, he might have written a story like this, but then he matured as a writer. And then this is like a really dodgy story, especially for the Ghost Recon franchise. This could easily be just a new IP called Wildlands. Right? It could just be a brand new game called Wildlands and have nothing to do with Ghost Recon, and it'd probably stand okay as that. But slapping the Tom Clancy and Ghost Recon name to it, it's a bit deceitful, to be honest, because I don't think anyone who's played the previous Ghost Recon games would play this if you just gave them the game, didn't tell them what it was called. I don't think anyone would say, "Oh yeah, that was a Ghost Recon game." It reminds me more of games like Just Cause, where you've just got a big open world to go around, but without the wacky physics in Just Cause. It just doesn't feel like a military game. This feels like more like you're a mercenary or vigilante. It's got the gadgets, sure, and it's got the weapon customization, but just the whole context and setting doesn't feel like a Ghost Recon game. Anyway, the way it is set up is each of the regions in the map belongs to a certain part of the cartel operations. It might be the smuggling part, or the production part, or the influence part, and you have to progress through the story missions in each region to sort of destabilize the cartel and eliminate or at least neutralize the boss of that region. So that's what you do in each region by unlocking the story missions and progressing through them. The skill system, the progression system, is quite uninspired. All the different skills you've got, there's not many that are interesting or you think, oh cool, yeah, I've got to have that. Most of them are pretty boring, and they have multiple levels to them, making them like, there's skills like you could carry one more frag grenade, and then the next level is you can carry another frag grenade, and the next level is you can carry another frag grenade. It's like that's phoned in rubbish, you know. There's only a few skills that you think, yes, I need that. That'll be really useful, and the rest of them are like, yeah, just fluff. Just I had to fill it up with something. So I found like by the third area, I'd unlocked pretty much every skill that I wanted, every skill that I needed that I felt was useful, and then I had multiple points in skills that I didn't think were that useful as well. So I came to that point, and then collecting the skill points, because skill points is, as well as leveling up through just progressing, skill points are things that are like side activities to find in the map as well. You discover little caches that you basically skill points that you're awarded for finding them, and the side missions for getting the parts for each skill point as well, like I said, the gasoline or the medical supplies. By the time I got to the third area, after pretty much doing 100% completion on the areas up to that, I found I didn't need any. I didn't really want any more skills. There's nothing left really good to get. The kind of weapons you got, there's a lot of weapons, but they sort of fell into the same category in that you unlock the weapons by finding weapon caches, and you unlock the accessories by finding accessory cases, and as well as progressing through the story. And there are lots of custom options for each one, but each weapon in each class in the end felt the same. Like once I had them set up with the same attachments, all the assault rifles felt the same, all the SMGs felt the same, all the light machine guns felt the same, all the sniper rifles felt the same. You know, they all basically killed with one shot, at any range, no matter what sniper rifle it was. So once you found a decent assault rifle you liked with the setup with the attachments you liked, there's no reason to even pick up any other weapons other than just idle curiosity. You're not going to suddenly find that weapon that, this is like blisteringly fast fire rate and super accurate or anything like that. No, once you've got them set up with the same attachments, they all pretty much feel the same. So at that point, there's no point chasing weapon caches and accessory caches anymore, because you'll just be using the same assault rifle, same LMG, same sniper rifle, So 3 or 4 areas in, about level 20, I found I wasn't doing any side missions anymore. I was just like, wasn't any point to them. I was just pushing on with the main story missions at that point. So I found it enjoyable to start with. Like it's a bit like probably exactly what they wanted. The free play time I got in while it was on the free weekend, the 6-7 hours, I found quite enjoyable, and that's why I decided, I think it'll be worth $16.50, so I'll buy it. But it got very repetitive very quickly after that, with, like I said, the unlocks becoming pointless quite early on, and then getting to the point where the side missions weren't worth doing, so I just progressed with the story missions. I got to the point where I was like 5 regions in, done all the story missions in 5 regions, and I looked at the map and there was still 10 more regions to go, and I thought, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not going to do the same thing that I've just done for the previous 5 regions in another 10. I just I just couldn't face doing it. So that's the point where I stopped playing. So its full price is $49.99, and definitely do not buy it for that. It's definitely not worth 50 quid. As well as, I should mention as well, the 50 quid, whatever you buy it for, but there's a ton of in-game microtransactions as well. I mean, you can literally pay money to unlock your different weapons and your different attachments and things and different skins and different things to customize your character and that. Yeah, you can pay money to unlock them instead of having to find the weapon caches and the accessory caches and unlock them through progressing the story. So there's microtransactions as well for a 50 quid game. So yeah, highly dodgy for that price. But it is big, and if you can bring yourself to keep playing it, like you're gonna get value out of it if you do like the repetitive, what's being repeated, then you'll get value out of it because it is big and there are DLCs planned. So yeah, it's going to have longevity if you can keep yourself playing it. I played 31 hours. That was the point at which I had enough. And like I say, I paid $16.49 for it. So 31 hours for $16.49 is okay, I guess. It's not too bad. But I still would not recommend it, even at that discount. I would not recommend it. It's just too repetitive in the end, and if you think, oh yeah, I can play it for 30 hours for $16.50 and just have a bash with it, then fine. But I wouldn't recommend it. It's not one I think is worth picking up, and I can see why it had the poor reception and the mixed reviews when it came out. It's a disappointment in the Ghost Recon franchise, and I hope they move away from this kind of game, this kind of style of game for any future Ghost Recon games. So that's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Not recommended, I'm afraid. Thanks for watching.